also want to press record too. I believe we are live.
Let's see.
Record. Record. Okay. I mean, I guess there's no point in recording it and going live, but just in case
We can do
that
both.
happens,
Doesn't hurt.
Never hurts to be extra sure.
Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that we are. Yep, there we are. Great.
Ooh, so exciting.
Okay. Should we start?
All share the live feed so we can get. Oh, we already have some people watching. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Hello. But yeah, let's share. If we all share the post,
okay,
then we can get some more bodies in our virtual room.
Hope everybody has their coffee. Waking up with us.
Some of us have our coffee. Some of us sadly don't have our coffee. All right, I have shared it.
All right, I have also shared it.
Yeah. All right. So anyone is free to ask any question at any time. I'll actually make sure I can see your questions in the comments.
I may have shared this to our page instead of to my page. I think.
Double share. So many sharing. Melissa, it looks like someone's already giving you a shout out and saying good morning.
Oh, where do I see this? Oh, good morning, JC, and good morning, Kevin. Thank you for tuning in. Hope y'all are doing well. These are a couple of brass players from Texas. Great. Well, we have a couple of viewers, so should we get going?
Let's do it.
Oh, where do I see this? Whoa.
We're getting you from. That's so funny. Did you find it?
Are we good?
I think we're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for the Bold Chats #1. This is going to be a new series that we are starting each week. We'll have different guests and faculty spotlights that are featuring people who are going to be teaching classes at our upcoming workshop, Brass Out Loud, that is taking place January 8th through 10th. Rebecca, you want to take it away with who you are, what you do?
Sure. So I guess we're just going to do a little bit of an introduction for each of us. First, my name is Rebecca Karu. I'm currently residing in Toms River, New Jersey. I was in New York for a little while, but due to the circumstances, I'm in Jersey right now. And I am a French horn player, freelancer, and blogger. I have a blog called Mind Over Practice. So that's a little bit about me. Melissa.
It's my turn. I was trying to figure out how to share it again. My name is Melissa Muñoz, and I'm a trumpet player. Primarily, I'm also a trumpet teacher, and I am currently based out of Austin, Texas, riding out the quarantine here with two of my best friends, and it's been great being back in the Lone Star State. I'm currently a student at the Colburn School, online, virtually. And yeah, super happy to be here this morning.
Yay. Thanks, Melissa. So hi, I'm Kate Amrine. I am a trumpet player. I am based in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, and I currently freelance doing all sorts of various gigs. And even in the pandemic, I've been lucky to be playing out and about in the park, on the street, all of that fun stuff. But obviously a lot of practicing in this chair at home and recording. I also am a teacher. I teach non-music majors at NYU, and I have my own private studio. And I'm excited to be here too.
Yay! So I guess we kind of wanted to just start about talking about, to begin with, the Bold Chats with just a little bit of why we started this, inspiration behind Bold itself. So Bold was formed based on what we've been seeing kind of throughout the past, 9 months or so that we've been in quarantine, or COVID or pandemic. And basically, a lot of the things that we began seeing were all these sorts of online seminars, workshops, festivals, and such like that. And something that we began noticing was the fact that for all of these workshops and everything, it was a lot of the same people giving the same master classes for just different programs. And it became apparent that there was a lack of representation amongst these programs. And the idea started really after having these conversations about just the lack of representation, diversity, and inclusion that we're seeing, on social media and the internet right now with these workshops. And we decided that we wanted to kind of take it amongst or upon ourselves and really kind of begin to change that narrative. I mean, as women in the brass community, we want to be able to see women like us. We want to be able to see people not like us, and everybody has such amazing talents and things to offer that it's disappointing just to see the same five, again, great people giving these seminars, but what about the people who have all these other great talents and experiences and stories to share with us? I mean, why is it that we hire just the same 5, 10 people when there's an entire community of people of all genders, races, sexualities, and so on and so forth that are kind of just being overlooked? So we wanted to change this narrative. So we set up Brass Out Loud. We took a lot of time and effort to put into this program and really make sure that everything we were doing and saying was exactly what we wanted it to be. So we now have this amazing faculty lined up. And I think, Melissa, do you want to talk about our faculty a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that handoff, Rebecca. So our faculty is absolutely incredible. If you haven't checked it out on the website, no worries, because I'm about to tell you who we have. I'm just going to start in score order with trumpet. We have Dr. Rachel Samayoa, who's going to be teaching a warm-up session and also participating in the discussion panel titled Combating Racism in the Music World. She's a member of Seraph Brass, professor of trumpet at UNT, and super incredible. We also have Jennifer Maroda, who will be teaching a performance masterclass. She's currently residing in LA. She was in the President's Own, and she has so much knowledge and so much really awesome orchestral experience. So definitely check that one out. We got Kiku Collins, who will be participating in the discussion panel Combating Racism in the Music World. She's performed with Beyonce, Michael Bolton. She's been on the Rachel Ray Show. She's just like super awesome. We also have Billy Hunter, who will be teaching a performance masterclass. He is principal of the Metropolitan Opera for a super long time and is now the professor of trumpet at UT. Hook 'em. We got Chloe Rollins, who will be she'll be teaching her own class, Finding Your Sound Through Improv, and also will be participating in the Looking to the Future panel discussion. She's the newest member of the Westerlies and has performed all over the world, sharing the stage with Wynton Marsalis, Arturo Sandoval, and many others. Then we have Rodney Marsalis, who will also be participating in the Looking to the Future panel discussion. He's a world-renowned trumpet soloist, trumpet prodigy, and has his awesome band that Miss Kate Amrine has participated in, the Rodney Marsalis. That is how we met. Yeah. I was a viewer, and Kate was a performer, and she absolutely killed it. And look at us now.
Yay.
We have Brianne Borden, who will be teaching a class, Yoga for All Musicians. She's the visiting assistant professor at SUNY Potsdam. I don't really know how to say that. Also plays in the quintet there. And she's the co-owner and CEO of Yoga for All Musicians, which is a woman-run, queer-run virtual yoga studio with over 15 classes a week. That's awesome. So crazy. A woman of all trades. Then we have Megan Desjarnais. I think that's how you say it. Desjarnais.
Yeah, the second one.
She's a composer, and well, she does way more than just composing. She is an interdisciplinary narrative artist, but she'll be teaching a class called Composer 101 on commissioning and building relationships. So if you ever had any questions about that, which I feel like I have so many questions, definitely tune into that. And then we have our very own Kate Amrine, who will be teaching a class, Designing Your Career in Music. She's a prominent trumpet player, music theater. She plays in music theater and contemporary and classical music world. She's the lead trumpet player in an all-woman funk band called Top Queens. She is an arranger, dedicated composer, and also an awesome colleague and friend.
Aww.
All right, so that's trumpet. Okay, next we're gonna move on to horn. We have Alex Shuhan, who will be leading a warm-up session for horn. He was a member of the Dallas Brass, helped found Rhythm and Brass, and which many of his arrangements are regularly performed by. And he is currently professor of horn at Ithaca College. Then we have Jeff Scott, who will be also leading a warm-up session and participating in the Combating Racism in the Music World discussion. He's been on a bunch of awesome Broadway shows, performed at Lincoln Center under the direction of Wynton Marsalis, and is the hornist of the internationally acclaimed Imani Winds. So that's going to be so awesome. We're so lucky to have him. Then we have Jeff Nelson, who will be teaching a course on musician mindset. And he's an 8-year member of Canadian Brass. And this is a class that you really don't want to miss. He's given a TED Talk on this topic and has trained a lot of athletes and business people on this topic specifically. Then we have Julie Landsman, who will be teaching a performance masterclass. That name, if you don't know her, something's wrong with you. She is incredible. She was a horn player in the Met for 25 years, and her story is just absolutely beautiful. So check her out. Then we got William Purvis, who will be participating in the Looking to the Future panel discussion. Mr. Purvis, he was actually my chamber music coach at Yale, so it feels weird calling him William, but he is a horn soloist, chamber musician, conductor, educator, and has so much incredible performance experience, but particularly he is an incredible professor of horn and practice of chamber music, and he really incorporates a lot of great things into his studio at Yale. And so I'm super excited to hear what he has to say about how we can all just be better people and more inclusive in our classes. And then we have Rachel Jenkins, who is the author of the audition playbook, and she'll be giving a class about audition preparation and optimal planning for orchestral audition success. So that's going to be super cool. Now we're on to trombone. We have Nikki Abisi, and she will be leading a warm-up session. She is a New York City-based trombonist, member of Stiletto Brass Quintet, and honestly has played in so many high-level orchestra and Broadway gigs, too many to name. So definitely check that out. Then we have John Rojak, who will be teaching a trombone performance masterclass. I got to work with John this summer, and he was just super cool, very intelligent, very patient, and I think this class is going to be one you don't want to miss. He's a member of the American Brass Quintet and also bass trombonist of the St. Luke's Orchestra. And then we got Martin McCain, who will be teaching a trombone performance masterclass as well. He's a 4-time winner of the Global Music Awards and literally dabbles in everything. We got soloist, career, orchestral player, jazz commercial, and not only that, but he is a full-time professor at Texas State. So tune in because he might be making an appearance on one of these bold chats. That's a different one. Great podcast, though. Check it out. Then we have finally in the trombone category, Abby Conant, and she will be participating in the Looking to the Future panel discussion. She is a legendary international orchestral trombonist who won an epic fight against gender discrimination in the Munich Orchestra. And I'm sure we'll hear that story during her class, but if you just look her up on Wikipedia and you can read about it. It's really incredible how she kind of just overcame all of that gender discrimination that still exists today. All right, now we're moving on to tuba euphonium. We have Reggie Chapman, who will be leading a warm-up session. He's a low brass multi-instrumentalist, composer, and educator. I think he's based out of New York City. Kate, is that right? Yeah. Brooklyn. And he'll be teaching that class. His performances range from indie rock, brass bands, Broadway, classical jazz, anything you can think of. So that's going to be a really interesting class for sure. And then we have Carol Jansch, who will be teaching a performance masterclass for tuba. She is principal tuba of the Philadelphia Orchestra, member and arranger of Tubular, founder of Tubas for Good, and overall just an incredible woman. She's also a professor of tuba at Yale University, and that's where I met her. Also tune in for our next Bold Chats, because she will be our guest. Woo! And it's going to be great. Then we have Chanel Krishlow, and she will be participating in the Combating Racism in the Music World panel discussion. She's also known as Tuba Fresh, which I think is an awesome name. And she fronted Pitch Black Brass Band for the last several years before relocating to LA. And she also creates lo-fi R&B beats as Tuba Fresh. So I definitely need to check those out because I just realized that I love lo-fi R&B. And then last but not least, we have Charles Villarubia, who will be teaching a, oh, you know what? I didn't write what class he's participating in. Anybody remember from the top of their heads?
Tuba warm-up?
Tuba warm-up.
Yeah, one of those two.
No, he's doing the masterclass.
All right, Mr. Villarubia will be teaching the tuba masterclass, and I guess I thought I would remember. I worked really closely with him when I was a student at UT, and he is an incredible teacher and person, really has a lot of great things to say, and was a founding member of Rhythm and Brass, played a lot in the Boston area with the orchestra and the Pops, and as I said, is a professor at UT. So that's a quick rundown of our faculty, as quick as I could. So we got a great lineup. And now I will pass it off to Kate.
All right. So I am going to, now that you know who our faculty is, a little bit about our schedule, I'm just going to sort of sum it up and read our mission statement really quick. You heard from Rebecca about the beginning of Brass Out Loud and sort of why we all feel like this is something we really need in the music world right now. But just to sum it all up. So Brass Out Loud is an organization dedicated to uplifting and inspiring brass players everywhere. We are especially interested in supporting brass players who have felt underrepresented in the music world. In addition to celebrating the work of male players in our communities, we aim to elevate the work of Black, Indigenous, people of color, female, trans, and non-binary musicians. Our workshop will feature events that address the various needs and challenges faced by the brass community. The inclusive faculty and staff at Brass Out Loud will offer a new perspective on what it means to be a musician today. So hopefully you're hearing all of these things and you are super inspired and pumped to be involved, to register, to get your students to register. But I thought we could also clear up a couple myths about Brass Out Loud. I know one that someone recently informed me of was who this festival is for, who this workshop is for. So it is for everyone, anyone and everyone, but we are especially interested in reaching college students, young professionals, people who are teaching, advanced high school students, and this would be people in those categories of all genders, all races, all sexual orientations, all of that good stuff. Because even though we want to highlight the underrepresented communities and people in the brass world with our faculty, we want everyone to be involved in the festival. So please register.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of piggyback off of what Kate was saying, I want to emphasize this is definitely for people of all ages also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you're graduating high school and you just want to know more about what am I getting myself into in this music world, I would definitely recommend this for you. If you're an undergraduate student, you know, the more knowledge you can get, the better. If you're a graduate student, same thing. And young professionals, if you know, participating in this workshop can only make you a better educator, person, and musician. So definitely check it out.
Absolutely. So let's merge into like a different topic of conversation. So that's a lot about our festival basics, who our faculty is, what's going on with our schedule, who this is for. But I wanted to get into the topic of diversity and inclusion and why this is so important, like especially during today's times. I mean, I know that for through the past couple of months, the world has been crazy. The election was crazy, and we're hoping for a little bit of, relief in the coming years and months. But with that being said, this is something that's really important to us, not only in the general sense of the world, but especially in the communities that we are involved in, whether it's the general brass community, um, or the general music community, I should say, and the brass community as well. So because we are brass musicians and we are specifically looking for a change in our field, I just wanted to kind of talk about the importance um, of making sure that there's well-rounded representation throughout. I know for me, something that I've been pushing and thinking about is that if we don't start changing things today and now and within the time period where we're generally pretty young and up and coming, if we don't start changing the face of the community today, I mean, we're going to end up in a place where our next generation, our children, are still facing the same problems of the lack of diversity and inclusion and representation in these seminars, in orchestras, in chamber music, in soloists. And it's not just the community in the United States, it's the community at large throughout the entire world. And it's just one of those things where, again, if somebody doesn't start speaking up and saying this is wrong and let's start righting these wrongs, um, it doesn't get changed. And I think that that was something that really played into why we started Brass Out Loud in the first place, was um, that phrase of saying you want to be the change that you want to see in the world, or whatever that phrase is. But it's just that idea of, if you want something to change, you have to be the one to change it. You can't wait for just somebody else to do it. If you're upset about something, and I encourage everybody to do this throughout their lives, is if you're upset about something, something seems wrong, take the liberty to step up and say, all right, like, enough is enough. Let's change the narrative. Let's become the change. Let's set the foundation for a better future for all of us. And I think that that is something that's really, really, really important, and that we want to drive the point across with Brass Out Loud. And we hope that a lot of our followers and people who want to participate and keep up with Brass Out Loud, we hope that you want the same things for our community. I know Melissa has a really great story to share about kind of her experience with this, so I'd love to open the floor back up to her.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, I definitely would love to echo everything you said. It's so true about being the change you want to see in this world. I mean, Gandhi put it best when he said that, and it's something that is echoed across generations because it's just true. If you want a better society, it starts with you, and it's like a ripple effect. And a lot of, that doesn't just stop in our society. We can really hone in on, okay, how do we interact with people in our daily lives? How much do we value our personal connections? Okay, cool. How much do we value our colleagues? How do we treat our colleagues? All right, bigger scale, orchestra. brass world, so on and so forth. So it doesn't just stop. I'd like to think like it doesn't just stop with most recently in the election. It goes all the way down to even our specific field, which is brass. Okay, so yeah, I started playing trumpet at the age of 9, and I had two choices, trumpet or clarinet, and I chose trumpet because my sister played trumpet. And I started playing, you know, everything was great. And then as I was entering high school, I started thinking, oh, this might be something that I'm going to do with for the rest of my life. And it was that or physics. So here I am today. You know which one I chose. And I was starting to listen to a lot of players, and particularly Maurice Andre, pretty much all the time, still to this day. But I never really stumbled across any Hispanic women who are playing the trumpet. And that's still something that I don't see a lot of today. Luckily, because of social media, I've been able to connect with more Hispanic women who play the trumpet and are pursuing this as a career, much like myself. And I just got to say, it was hard. It's really hard to aspire to be something like a trumpet player when you have no models of somebody that looks like you doing it. Um, which is why I think it's so important that we put, number one, more women in the spotlight in the brass world, because there's definitely, as you know, you can even read about Abby Conant's case, there's still a lot of lack of representation of women in orchestras, in bands, in brass quintets, in workshops. And that's just not representative of our community, because you can see right here, there are 3 very capable young musicians who at some point have probably experienced gender discrimination, and maybe didn't have somebody that looked like them as they were growing up to listen to and to aspire to be. So I think that this is great because it just gives everybody an equal playing field. And I don't know if you guys have seen this picture, but it's like of an apple tree. And it says, and it's 2 people. One person's on a ladder, they're picking an apple. Another person is on that same ladder, but the tree is higher. And so they're unable to pick the apple. And the saying says something along the lines of, equality isn't equal opportunity, right? Because they're both on the same ladder. Equality is having equal access to the same resources. So then the person who was unable to reach the apple had a higher ladder, and they were able to pick the apple. And I think that that's sort of what we're trying to do, is we're trying to elevate people who are underrepresented so that they have the same opportunities as people who have already been given those opportunities. It's not to say that anybody is better or worse than anybody else, because that's not true at all. It's just to kind of level out the playing field. And I think that's something that we need to strive towards as a community. And that, like I said, begins with ourselves. I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but to chime in whenever you feel like it. But yesterday I was in a class. I'm in a class with called Community Engagement at Colburn, and Andrew Brady, who is a bassoonist with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, came and spoke to us regarding equality in orchestras, and he is on the board for trying to make this happen, basically within the ASO. And he brought up points that that I had considered but never really thought too much about. So example is resume screening. Number one, you see who, okay, number one, if they're a female or a male. And then you also see, okay, well, yeah, they don't have enough experience, they're still a student. Or blind auditions and not keeping the blind up for the final round. The blind, you know, I'm biased, of course, because I'm sure if you look at me, you're not thinking, oh, this person's going to blow the wall down or whatever. I prefer if the screen is up the whole time. That's great. And just things like that, you know, things to make the world a more equal place. So that's why this is important to me, because I think that we have a rockstar faculty, and all these people just deserve this attention, for sure.
Yeah. You just got me thinking about my past like orchestra audition experience, and it's like kind of crazy at such a young age that we learn these things, and that we learn that like our gender or our race is taboo and is this thing that you feel like you need to hide or not share with people because then you will be labeled as this like other different person. Um, and of course, I know that like as a white woman, I have an insane amount of privilege, so I'm definitely not claiming that I face insane discrimination. But at least with auditions, I remember when I was like 12, and I was told like not to wear heels or shoes that made like a clacking noise at all when I would walk into an audition because they would know. I was also told not to wear perfume or to shower that day so that my hair didn't smell and so that they could smell it across the room. And like these things are so weird and like silly, um, but it makes sense. And like the obvious thing about not speaking in an audition, but it's like, yeah, like, in theory, we don't want to hide who we are, but this is something that we have to continue doing so that everyone around us is presented with the same opportunities and is able to audition and to be in these rooms, to further be seen and just to make a difference. Because I know that if I had seen more women playing, jazz and Broadway stuff at a younger age, I would have realized a lot sooner that this was something that I could do and that was totally normal for me to do and like wasn't this taboo thing, where I would still be seen as like, oh, you're like one of the only ones. And at least now with Broadway, there's literally only two other women on Broadway who are trumpet subs who are older than me and who are like the major cats who are amazing. And I love them and admire them so much for paving the way for me to try and do this. But two out of all of the men, it's just crazy. So I hope like 5-10 years from now we can get some other people in there, some other diverse voices, because yeah, we have to. This is the world that we want to create for everyone who's coming up after us and behind us. And so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That just got me also thinking about
Mm-hmm.
whenever we have a more diverse room, things are better, right? We have more voices and people just being who they are, being a woman, being a male, being female, trans, non-binary, white, black, brown, whatever you are, you just being yourself, you bring a perspective to a room that nobody else can bring. And so the more diverse backgrounds that we have, particularly in an ensemble or in any sort of performing arts, the better, and the more creativity that we're able to foster because of that. So yeah, I really hope that, and I think we're going in the right direction, but I really hope that there is more representation of all people in every single ensemble and just across the board in everything. So.
Speaking of which, fun fact, over 70% of our faculty is female, trans, non binary, or BIPOC. So that is a crazy cool statistic. In case anyone was wondering, we were really happy about that. Of course, we definitely didn't set out to make a certain percentage. We were literally just making our schedule and hiring the best people that we could think of. But then when we actually did the numbers, we're like, oh, like this is amazing. This is really cool. I was in an orchestra chat the other day, and someone was saying, like, in the past we've only programmed like 5% of orchestra music by Black composers, and he's like, maybe we should get it up to 15%. I'm like, what? Like maybe we should get it up to like 50. Like 15 is not a good percentage to strive for, and I couldn't believe this person said it, and I'm happy I didn't drag them online. But diversity in the music that we play is also something that's really important to us, and this can only happen by bringing more diverse voices into the room. So this is definitely part of our conversation as well.
That's awesome. So thank you, both of you, for sharing like those stories and your experiences, especially with like we were saying, the different kinds of like Kate was saying, the different kinds of weird things that women have been told to not do for auditions and stuff like that. I think that some of this stuff is just, it's a little mind blowing, frankly. But let's take a second to open up the floor to anybody who has any questions to ask us. And this can be regarding Brass Out Loud in general, faculty, scheduling, really any types of questions that anybody may have. We'll just wait a few seconds to see if anything comes through on Facebook.
Of course, if you are seeing this later, feel free to comment and still ask your question or message us because we are around and we will answer it. Now is also a good time to share that we have 1 week left in early registration. And if you register early, you get a free t shirt. Yes.
Woo!
I'm excited about the t shirt, if you couldn't tell. And if you register after next week, you do not get a free t shirt, but you can if you donate via Kickstarter, possibly. And you still get to come, which is really the most important part here. So registration overall closes January 7th. So get it in, join us.
Yes, and I would also just want to thank everybody who donated to our Kickstarter. There's still time left. Everybody who hasn't donated, we still have, what is it, 30 days or less than that now, maybe?
A couple weeks left.
I think
Couple
it's
of weeks
almost about
left.
30 days. Yeah, about a month left. I believe it closes on the 14th of December. So yeah, again, like Melissa was saying, we're very grateful for everybody who has donated this far, and we have reset our goal to 5,000. And again, I'll just kind of cover maybe a little bit of stuff that money is going towards, just to clear some stuff up. But a lot of this money is going towards paying our faculty. I mean, they are amazing. They deserve to be adequately paid, and that's something that was just really important on our end to be able to do. So a lot of the money goes towards that. It also goes towards other things like paying our graphic designer who did an amazing job with our logo and helped us out immensely with creating something really special that we really loved to use as a graphic design. It also go towards things like paying for like QuickBooks and paying for managing taxes and stuff like that. So, we just want to be able to cover all of our bases, make sure everybody gets adequately paid. Stuff goes, greatly deep into when you're running a festival. So I know that some people were interested in just where a lot of these finances were going, why we upped our budget. And that's why, again, we want to be able to make sure that we can give everybody the best program that we can offer.
Yeah. I was just saying, sorry, because we're new, we're operating with, completely new, zero money in the bank. So we're really excited to be able to bring this to you now that we reached our goal, but we do have a little bit more, expenses, of course. So any contributions are greatly appreciated.
Yes, and I would like to thank our sponsor, Shires Eastman Company, for sponsoring a couple of great classes. We have two Shires artists, Brianne Borden, who I mentioned earlier will be teaching yoga for all musicians, and Martin McCain, who will be teaching a trombone performance class. And Kate, didn't you take one of the yoga for all musicians classes?
I have. I've dropped in a bunch in some of their classes, and they're amazing. And Brianne and all of the other YAM teachers are doing awesome things. I actually do yoga every day, so it is something that I really, really care about. You should too. It's amazing. And especially for people who've never had any yoga experience before, their classes are amazing and obviously totally geared towards musicians. So highly recommend.
Yeah, I studied with Alan Dean for a year, and he practices yoga every single day, and he's 82 and extremely healthy. So I believe that is the key to a long, healthy life. So check that class out for sure. I will definitely be trying to do downward dog. I'm not much of a yoga practicer, but I do like stretching. It's nice. I also wanted to just put this out there that because of our Kickstarter and all the money that we're raising, we hope to continue this project. It doesn't just end after January 10th. We want to keep going, and so every single penny counts. And we even have an option for $2. So, if you can spare half of a coffee, then please donate.
It looks like we have a question that came in.
Yeah, I was just
Yay, Kevin.
as well. We definitely know all of these people. We definitely didn't ask random people online that that we like. I think there might have been one person that none of us had any experience with, but I feel like everyone else we definitely knew. Let me read the question one more time.
Could you read it out loud?
Yeah, so Kevin is wondering, did we have any prior experiences or relationships with all of the guest artists or clinicians? I've really enjoyed reading and getting to know more about the brass community through your lineup and was curious to know about how you went about finding and seeking out so many great people in our field. Um, Also, Kevin wrote that this is so wonderful and inspired by y'all. So that's so sweet. I love that. Um, yeah, I think we definitely had a lot of prior experience with these people. I can just run down the list of the people that I know. Um, Melissa mentioned that I have played a bunch with Rodney Marsalis' group, which is amazing. I know Chanel Tuba Star from freelancing in New York. Chloe Rowlands also from freelancing. Um, John Rojak is amazing. I think everyone probably has prior experience with him, but I used to be his assistant at NYU when I was a student, and when he was running the brass department. Um, who else? Nikki Abisi, Nicole Abisi, is also someone I know through freelancing, and I just admire her online because of the Extendabone product that she's made that I'm sure she'll talk about. And if you are a trombone player, especially a trombone player with not monstrously long arms, then it's a really great thing to check out to help you play. Um, and then Brianne, we mentioned, oh, Megan. So Megan DeJarnett, I've commissioned her with my duo, and she's an amazing composer, also an amazing blogger. So if you care at all about, diversity and inclusion and equity in the music world, definitely check out her blog because she's always like dropping some serious fire on what's happening in the music world. And I think that's everybody I know. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out, I remember reading this on Megan's site and it's still there, but through 2020, she's doing $100 commissions for 2 minutes of music up to two instruments, which is an incredible deal. So
Oh wow.
if you're at all interested in that, I would definitely recommend checking out her music and reaching out to her. Um, yeah, we definitely did try to draw from people we had personal relationships, number one, but then we also did a lot of research as to who was out there. And I'll be honest, when we were putting it together, we were like, wow, this would be really great if we got this person. I don't know if it's going to happen because they're high profile. And it's not easy to ask, but I've learned through this process that the worst that can happen is people say no. So we reached out to every single person that we thought would be best fit for the festival, and we were really fortunate to have most people, I think all people,
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
all of
yeah,
say
them.
everyone said
yes.
yes, which
Everybody
is
said
awesome.
yes. So everybody who is on faculty is invested in this mission and invested in Brass Out Loud. And yeah.
Awesome. I guess we'll stay on for like another minute or two to see if anybody else has any more last minute questions.
The schedule is up online if you guys are interested in knowing what is exactly happening each day. We have 4 blocks, 10 a.m. to 11, 11 to 12. Then you get a lunch break, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Um, and each class is going to run 50 to an hour, and each class is different. So you're really going to be getting a lot out of this festival if you enroll. It's different in that we're not just offering how to play your instrument 101. We're also offering classes about things that are applicable to our day-to-day life right now. Um, and I think it's important that you tailor your craft around social events, and that's just my personal view about it. But we have a lot of classes that do actually apply to what's going on right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Um, we mentioned some of the brass festivals that we've seen pop up in this time. But I just love that we were able to put together 2 panels because there's so many things now that are really worth talking about and worth hearing from the faculty talking about. And the panels will be able to submit questions ahead of time. So if you really want to know about someone's specific experience, like Abby's, like we mentioned, definitely reach out when we start posting about those. Um, but yeah, just the rest of the events, like I've been to a lot of these workshops, where it really is like how to play your instrument 101. And so I was totally laughing at that. And so these events are relevant for now, like in quarantine, in lockdown, things that you can do better, but also like 5 years from now when hopefully we're out of this situation and you're out back in the real world and, you know, dominating the scene in your world. And hopefully some of these things will be super helpful. And also, you never know because um, I know at least with my students, there's always some random question that, you know, I never thought somebody would ask about. And then I'm like so happy that, you know, I went to this masterclass or heard from someone online about this topic or if I know someone who's like super great at talking about that. So we're trying to open up everyone's world to yeah, these new voices, which are amazing. So
Awesome. It looks like Kevin had one more question for us. He asked, will all the classes be recorded for viewing at later dates if we're unable to catch everything live? So with that being said, we are actually leaving that up to each of the faculty members if they'd like their classes to be recorded for any sort of purposes. Some people have said yes directly so far, and some people have not decided, which is totally okay. And again, nothing will be released without their consent, just because a lot of what they'll be putting out is their product, their musicianship, their voices and everything. So we wanted to leave that specifically up to them to decide. So that we will have more of a solid answer towards the beginning of January. And of course, these, if we do record them, we absolutely can put them up on Facebook as long as we have their permission and everything. And that would be, we would be able to put them up after the festival workshop itself.
Thank you for the question, Kevin. If there are no other questions, I think that we'll wrap up, and I'll just put it out there. Two things. Number one, if you are interested in participating in Brass Out Loud in any sort of regard, send us a video of why you think, what the future of brass is to you, and why, what you want to see in the world of brass. And we'll create a post about that on our page here pretty soon. And second is on Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, we have Carol Yonch coming in. Submit your questions. We'll be putting out a post about that, and you really don't want to miss that.
Awesome. And then lastly, just to reiterate a couple things, if you're interested in finding our schedule, our Kickstarter link, any more information about Brass Out Loud or our faculty, be sure to catch us on our website. It's www.brassoutloud.com. Pretty easy. We also have this Facebook page that will update, you know, every day, every other day, as well as our Instagram account at Brass Out Loud. We're always posting stuff. We're always posting stuff about Kickstarters. We're always posting stuff about faculty, what's going on, what kind of work's going on behind the scenes. So again, if you have any questions post watching this video, you can message us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, or contact us through our website as well. All the information's up there. And again, if you want to register right through our website. You can just go right to the website and go to register. And it's that easy.
yay. All right. I think we're ready to close it out. So see you all next Monday, this upcoming Monday with Carol, and have a lovely weekend.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.